If you want to start making more money, better money, you got to start making money like a business and stop making money like a person. I keep trying to tell these young people, this younger generation, I keep trying to tell the millennials and the alphas, stop trying to make money like a person. Make money like a business. Make money like a system. You can make bigger money than just what you can produce, and you can make longer money than just how long you out here. You don't want to be the monkey that's got to constantly dance. Dance, monkey, dance. No. You got to change the dynamic. So, unfortunately, fortunately, half empty, half full, however we look at it. In the present economy, you got a lot of people doing a lot of solo gig type work. They trying to get theirs in, and it works for some. It works for some, but not so much for a lot of people. That's not really how they stacking their bread. That's not really sustainable. It might be money that they can get right now, but they got to work for it. They got to grind for it. They don't own anything. They're not even classified as an employee. And it's not something that they can then branch off and do on their own. So one of the key things I tell people, younger people all the time, I've told my kids this. There's basically 3 or 4 levels of how you make your money. I mentioned this in some of my other videos, so go check out some of the older videos in the channel playlist. First, you make money with your back. First, you got to make money by actually physically doing the work. Secondly, you make money with your brain. You think about supply and demand. You're not really thinking about that when you're making money with your back. You're just getting the work done. But when you're making money with your brain, the margins get better. Your opportunities expand because you're thinking about supply and demand. You're using your brain. The third level, it might be the top level, but for this video, I'll just put it as the third level. There's actually a level a little bit above it. I mentioned it in another video. The third level is making money with your money. So first you go from making money with your back to making money with your brain to making money with your money. That's the ladder that you want to climb. And so when you're making money as a person, yeah, you can climb that ladder, but it's limited to what you can do. It's all about you. It's all about you. I'll take it to the level of, think about entertainers and athletes and certain celebrities. Yeah, they may get paid big money as a person, but that person has got to dance. That person's got all type of language in their contracts that tells them what they can and cannot do, where they can and cannot go, who they can and cannot date, in order for them to get that bread. You got to be, a lot of times people say they want big money, but you got to think about the contracts that come with that big money. People are going to give you big money because they want big things from you, or they expect they think that you got big talent. They're just not going to give you big money. So there's so many people out here that are talking about what they would do for big money, and they wish they had big money. Be careful what you ask for, because when someone signs that big fat ass check for you, oh, you best believe you better read the fine print and understand it before you accept that check. That's all I'm saying. But when you build yourself up as a business, hopefully, presumably, you're already on that mindset. You're already on the mindset of contracts and negotiations and arbitration and IP and potentially labor issues and issues in different countries that you might be trying to set up shop in. It's just everything expands when you go from trying to make money as a person to trying to make money as a business. You got to think about making your money as a business. Here's a key distinction. When you're making your money as a person, a lot of times, okay, I'll give you 2 things actually. When you're making your money as a person, as an employee, a lot of times employees are just watching the clock. They just watching the clock. Yep, I'm off the clock now. Where's my money? I put in my time. You said you were going to pay me at this wage for this amount of hours. I know how to do math now. This is what you owe me. And so an employee is just constantly looking at the clock. That's someone that's getting paid as a person. No disrespect, not trying to disparage, but I'm just saying, we know, I know I was there. I know how it is. You were constantly looking at that clock. trying to find ways to be raw about it, a lot of times to do the least amount of work in the fastest amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want the day to go by quickly, and hopefully you can do the least amount of work. When you're thinking like a business, when you are that business, it's not about the time, it's about the effort, it's about the completion, it's about the quality, it's about supply and demand. You're thinking on a whole nother level. So when you make money as a person, you're kind of like that employee that's just looking at the clock, waiting to get off the clock so that you can go home. You don't really care necessarily about the quality of the work. You're just getting paid for your time. But when you think like a business, you're more so like whoever owns that enterprise. And you're like, look, it's about getting the task done. If we are here an hour, if we're here 10 hours, it's about getting the task done into quality and satisfying the customer. Two different mindsets. And so sometimes when I say these type of things, some people think I'm disparaging people who are not entrepreneurs or people who are not making their own business. I'm not. I once, at one point in time, did not have my, presently I've got 4 businesses. I'm in the process of probably selling one of them. So I usually just say 3 businesses. But before I became diversified in my businesses, before I became an entrepreneur, there was always that bug inside of me. It's not in everybody. Some people just want to tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. And some people are really good at that. But some people want a little bit more creative freedom. Some people want a little bit more autonomy. Some people, they, instead of telling them what to plant in the garden, they want to envision the garden themselves and what seeds they're going to plant and how they're going to feed the community with it. You know what I'm saying? And here's another key distinction. Just being raw about it. No seasoning on it, just giving it to you raw. When you make money like a person, you spend like a person. When you make money like a person, that money comes in. I got some money. Maybe you're trying to stack. Maybe you actually are trying to be responsible with it. You're paying your bills and you're trying to stack. But a lot of your expenditures are still going to be personal expenditures, which means you spent it, you consumed it, it's gone. Not a bad thing, but you spent it, you consumed it, it's gone. Many business purchases, when you're thinking like a business, when you're making money like a business, they either make money back for you, or they raise your margins where you're making money at a better rate, or they help set up your operations and help make it sustainable so that, you're making that money for a prolonged period of time, for an enduring period of time. Just to be raw about it, a lot of times when you think like a business, when you're making money like a business, you spend like a business and you get a better return on your spend. Think about how many people, really not trying to disrespect, I'm not trying to disrespect, but I'm just spitting it like it is. How many people get their income tax checks, rush off to buy personal items, things that they're going to spend on, consume, and then it's gone. Or they spend on it, it immediately drops in value until it's no longer useful. But how many people take that income tax check, that income tax refund, and make a business purchase with it? Maybe they, use it to do some research, maybe even travel to some place to get info on this manufacturer that can produce the units that they're selling at a better quality, at a cheaper rate, with better customer service, something that's going to benefit their business. Maybe they invest in better website design and upgrading their e-commerce, ecosystem. Maybe they invest in someone to run and manage their social media. Like, it's an expenditure. It's going to be consumed. It's going to be used. But it's got a longer shelf life. And what's the best dollar to spend? A dollar that comes back to you. So many times that's kind of what business thinking and business purchases are. You go from thinking about just bringing in, here's the third thing I was going to say. You go from just thinking about bringing in money. A lot of people, when they're making money as a person, It's like, let me go get a job or let me go make some money. When you're thinking like a business, you're not thinking about a job. You're not even thinking about a customer. You're thinking about income. It's about income. It's about revenue. New. Ongoing. Growing. When you make money as a person, for Gen Xers out there, you know I'm a young Gen Xer, baby, representing. For the Gen X crowd, do you remember back in the late 80s, maybe it was the early 90s, in Living Color? We all know in Living Color, right? Remember the Jamaican sketch where they talked about how many jobs they had? I got 7 jobs, man. What you mean you got 1 job, 2 jobs, you lazy boy? It's funny, but you don't want to be stuck in that. You don't want to, you want a better option is what I'm saying. And so it may be possible for someone to have 7 jobs. How draining is that going to be if that's what you got to do to live the standard of living you want to live, wherever you are on God's beautiful green and blue planet? But you'd much rather have 7 customers. You'd much rather have, 7 income streams as opposed to 7 jobs, because that job really is an obligation. To be raw about it once again, you're planting seeds in somebody else's garden. You're on somebody else's plantation. When it's your business, when you're bringing in your own money, and there's nothing wrong with bringing in your own money. That's the beauty of capitalism. The increased chance, the increased opportunity to bring in your own money. So there's nothing wrong with bringing in your own money. And some people work and then still bring in their own money. But when you just work, when you just bring in money from a job, when you're just getting that one source of income, you're putting all of your eggs in that one basket, and hopefully that basket is not on the deck of the Titanic. Or just even still, it's on the deck of a ship that you don't control. Anything can happen. Micro, macro, government regulations, lawsuits, change in ownership. Anything can happen, and now you're out of a job. You're making less. Are your skills up to grade? You know what I'm saying? Some people, they've been up in their skills, learning different things, working with software, working with AI, up in their trade skills. Not everybody has to go to college. There's so many different ways to sharpen your sword. But when you just make money as a person, when you just think about making money as a person, you're really putting yourself at the lowest level of employed people. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying this from experience. When I went from working for a window cleaning company to owning a window cleaning company, it's night and day. It's night and day. It's night and day the obligations and responsibilities, but it's night and day the revenue versus the money, the cut of the money that I'm getting versus the ownership and the expansion and the knowledge, and it's just a different mindset. And then when you can go from that level to then saying, well, let me now diversify into different businesses. Let me now see what I can do as far as other ways of supply and demand. When you make money as a person, when you make money as a job, what happens at the end of that day? What happens at the end of that job when you clock out? You off the clock. I'm trying to go home. I'm trying to chill. I'm trying to get in the streets. I'm trying to play video games. I'm trying to chill with my boo. Maybe I'm trying to go to church. Whatever. But because you are not at your job, because you are not working, essentially, money is stopped. There are so many people out here on a level that you would be amazed at, whose money doesn't stop, and they're no better than you. They're no better than you or me, and their money doesn't stop. And that's because they set themselves up to think like a business and make money like a business, as opposed to just making money like a person. You can go research this on YouTube or whatever. There are people who make money making relatively basic websites. And I don't mean, hold on. I don't mean just basic websites for somebody to use or structure of a website. I mean like basic websites like I think it's something off the top of my head. Nearest dog park near me. Nearest dog park near me. Nearest dog park near you. Someone made that website, and from the local or state or national traffic, plus with the advertising, plus with whatever merch and sponsorship, they're making maybe 10 grand a month easy. 10 grand a month. And you out there busting and slaving and working at your job or whatever hustle you got going on. And when you stop, your money stops. This person built the website that maybe they updated every now and then. But from the different info that they can provide to it, using today's different technology and such, okay, I'm overstating it. They brought in 7 grand last month. That's what I'm talking about. But you will never get there. You will never get there, have these thoughts, these conversations, plant these seeds, and make that progress when you just think about making money as a person. I just got to put something in my pocket. I just want to have something in my account. No, I need this money circulating. I need it feed, almost like irrigation. I need it feeding and sourcing to multiple things because it's going to bring back multiple revenue. Anyway, I'm on my little break in between my little gardens. So just, something I wanted to drop out there for my peeps out there. I do a lot of Gen X type videos, but I'm also an entrepreneur, so I got to spit this little entrepreneurial advice out there. You want to make more money, you want to up your bread, up your game, find some ways to make money like a business, like a system. If you can do that, you getting your garden ready. I get at you.